Good morning. I'm Tom Guerra from CDIA, and I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, which is sponsored by Connecticut Innovations, or CI. Today you'll be hearing from CI's Sandra Rizza and Joe Casparino regarding the topic of why you should upgrade your IT systems and how to finance it. Next slide, please. I'd like to thank CI for sponsoring the event today and for lending us Sandra and Joe. I think you'll find their presentation to be interesting and informative. At any point during the webinar, if you have questions, feel free to submit them by typing them into the Q&A box on the lower right of your screen. And throughout the session, as questions come in, I'll get them over to Sandra or Joe. A recording of the webinar will also be available probably early tomorrow morning at cbi.com. So before I turn it over to Sandra and Joe, I'd like to tell you a little bit about their background. Sandra Rizza is the Assistant Vice President and Loan Officer of CI. She's responsible for sourcing and evaluating financing opportunities, analyzing credit applications, and supporting financial statements, and structuring loan approvals for presentation to CI's Loan Committee. She began at CI as a credit analyst, and then she was promoted to her current position. She's over 10 years of experience in the commercial lending field and has served in roles ranging from contract administration, underwriting, and credit analysis. Prior to CI, Sandra worked for Webster Bank and the Small Business Lending Group and its subsidiary commercial leasing company, Webster Capital Finance. Sandra holds a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration degree from the University of Connecticut with a focus in finance and economics and an MBA from the University of Hartford. Joe Casparino is Managing Director of IT at CI. He began consulting for CI in 1996 and became an employee 2 years later. Joe's responsible for CI's systems infrastructure, including its computer hardware, software, and network systems and phone systems. Joe brought to CI 20 years of experience in computer systems. He's a graduate of the University of Hartford Samuel Ward College and served for 4 years in the U.S. Air Force. So, without further ado, I'm now going to turn it over to Sandra.
Good morning. Before we delve into the program, I would like to provide a brief background of who we are. Connecticut Innovations and the Connecticut Development Authority were merged on July 1st, 2012 in an effort to strengthen and streamline the economic development infrastructure within the state. The combination of the entities allows CI to offer an expansive array of programs to meet the needs of businesses from startups to well-established operations, single-employee businesses to large companies, and everything in between, with the goal to succeed in Connecticut. Information technology has become the forefront in today's business environment. Every organization will face unique challenges pertaining to their business needs. It is important to understand how technology plays a role in a business's daily operation and the best way for that business to benefit from it. Employees need to collaborate to know what pieces of the puzzle are currently available, what is needed, and how to design a cohesive system to support all areas of operation. I'd like to introduce you to Joe Casparino, the Managing Director of CI's Information Technology Department, who will explain the importance of IT in an organization.
Thank you, Sandra, for the introduction, and thank you to those for joining us in this webinar. Please feel free to type in any questions as you think of them. Let's get started. As you know, technology trends are keeping up with Moore's Law that suggests every 18 months technology doubles in size and drops in cost. And we can see that in many areas. One in particular that I'm aware of lately is the solid-state hard drives have dropped in price to the point where they're $1 or so a gigabyte. And their speeds and their reliability are fantastic. Matter of fact, I actually purchased one earlier this year and put it into my laptop. And the latest laptops I've been buying for my investment managers all have SSDs built into them. They make the boot experience very fast. The mobile device market is another technology trend that is growing, and with Wi-Fi access becoming very easy to obtain, The exchange of data becomes easier to accomplish, yet more difficult to protect. I read more and more about cyber attacks and cybersecurity measures that need to be taken to protect both company and client information. Thumb drives, as well as cloud-based storage alternatives, provide easy access to collaborate. Yet again, without good company policies on their use, the exposure can also put your data at risk. So now we move on to making a case for upgrading. I'm betting many of you have already started thinking about how to present a request/need. Assuming your equipment is 3 or more years old, the technology around servers has changed. They can pack an awful lot of power in a very small box these days. CI, over the last 3 years, has migrated from the traditional server room environment where we had a physical server for each application to a virtual environment. There, where a physical host running virtualization software creates an environment that can support multiple servers, multiple virtual servers. In our case here at CI, this has been a great value moving in this direction. And I welcome an in-depth conversation on this matter offline at any time. That being said, we were able to accomplish all the tasks in this slide with the reliability and energy efficiencies of the new servers in the virtual environment, along with moving our storage to network-attached storage devices, provided a greater comfort level. New dashboards and server performance reporting allow me to proactively move resources and load balance without impacting the staff. We moved to Windows Server 2008 Release 2 with many new features, and more importantly, enhanced security. Migrating to Exchange 2012, along with Outlook, the staff can take advantage of new email and calendaring features. Resource usage reports are available, allowing you to predict any additional equipment needs in advance of concern. So, what are the challenges to upgrading? Well, it can be expensive. There are migration issues, for example, legacy applications and compatibility, network infrastructure limitations. Our first need was to migrate to faster Ethernet switches. You need to settle and of course securing financing to accomplish the project. Let me go over to some best practices before I hand this back over to Sandra. These are very straightforward, of course, but still important enough to review. A colleague of mine would say the 5 P's, prior planning, prevents poor performance. So, of course, you're going to do planning and testing. With change management, there is one very critical piece, and that is support for the project. Staff and, most important, management need to be on board for the project. Interact with the staff and get their input. They need to realize that they are a big part of the project's success, and that's a good thing. Set expectations. How long will the outage be? What applications need staff participation? And what does that entail? Allow for a method to report functionality issues, a help desk or call-in method. After all, we are only human. And that concludes my segment of this presentation. Thank you for taking the time. I hope this was helpful. Tom, are there any questions at this time?
We don't have any questions, no, but I would encourage our attendees to type them into the Q&A box in the lower right, and we'll get them to Sandra and Joe. Next, we'll hear from Sandra Rizza about the specific programs that CI has available to help with your IT systems upgrades.
Thank you. The IT loan program was designed to provide borrowers an alternative to using working capital or internal funds to support an IT purchase or upgrade. The program supports a variety of upgrades, and the lists provided are not all-inclusive. The IT loans are offered to complement traditional bank loans. With a lack of collateral value due to the specialization of IT needs, banks often shy away from financing these requirements. Each IT loan application received is reviewed independently following our standard underwriting guidelines. The typical business financed under the IT loan program has been in operation for 5+ years, and it is important for that business to have a strong and committed management team. The applicant must also demonstrate the ability to service the debt currently and/or on a projected basis. The IT loan is a direct loan in an amount up to $750,000 with a term not to exceed 7 years. Also, all owners holding a 10% or greater share of ownership interest are required to guarantee the loan. As I noted before, the lists provided are not all-inclusive. The proceeds from an IT loan can be used for more than just hardware and software. The program allows the borrower to also cover costs for the build-out of a space that will house an IT area or leasehold improvements dedicated to IT. The list doesn't end there. If training is required to obtain certifications or to train employees on a new system implementation, the IT loan program can support those costs as well. The options are plentiful, and a CI loan officer is always available to answer questions pertaining to a specific situation. CI recently completed an IT loan for a manufacturing company that specializes in skincare products sold by dermatologists. The company was using a legacy enterprise resource planning system. The project included new hardware and software, as well as implementation costs, including training. CI financed 80% of the total cost of the system. By replacing the outdated system, the company could support its projected growth and improve sales and profitability because many of the processes were automated within one integrated system. The new multifaceted system provides more detailed information to better schedule production, improves the tracking and monitoring of inventory, increases the opportunities of just-in-time purchasing, and adds more information for effective quality assurance. The company was then able to invest a comparable amount of cash into working capital costs necessary to meet demand for its product.
Just wanted to check with our attendees if there were any questions they had at this time for Joe or Sandra. Okay, I'd like to thank Joe and Sandra for presenting today. If you do have questions, I believe their contact information appears on the next slide. If you could advance that, please. So if you have questions, feel free to contact them directly, or you can give me a call and I'll put you in touch with them. Again, we'll have a copy of this webinar available on cbia.com tomorrow. And I'd like to thank the attendees for joining us today as well. I hope that you found the program to be informative and helpful. If there's any other questions, feel free to get them to us. Joe or Sandra, did you have anything else you'd like to say?
I think we've covered.
I'm pretty comfortable with this, Tom. Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks again for presenting, and thank you to our attendees for calling in.